At the start of this offseason, everything was going great for the Toronto Maple Leafs until the infamous Kyle Dubas press conference happened, and then everything changed. Because of that Kyle Dubas press conference, a bunch of unforeseen changes have taken place within the Maple Leafs organization. Because of that press conference, Kyle Dubas' contract is not extended with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he goes on to be the president of hockey operations with the Pittsburgh Penguins. A recently fired Brad Treliving becomes the new general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But before we get into how the offseason's gone so far for Brad Treliving, let's go back to last season a little bit. Everyone kind of had that feeling that last season was the last run with this core group. Either Dubas would be gone or one of the core four would be gone. Because of that, Dubas went for some really big trades, and they did end up paying off a little bit, as the Maple Leafs made the second round for the first time since 2004. Dubas ended up bringing in guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Schenn, Noel Acciari, Erik Gustafsson, and others at the trade deadline to help bolster their team. In the end, though, they got a lucky series win against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then they got absolutely shredded by the Florida Panthers in the second round. When Dubas was the general manager of the Maple Leafs, he liked to go for those skill guys to help bolster the offense throughout the lineup. Treliving likes to go for those guys that are hard to play against and make the other team hate you when they're playing them. Keeping all that in mind, let's go into all the people that the Maple Leafs have lost and all the people that the Maple Leafs have signed this offseason. The big guy that Kyle Dubas got at the trade deadline, which was Ryan O'Reilly, decided not to stay with the team. He was offered the same contract that he got with the Nashville Predators, but instead he chose to go with them and not the Toronto Maple Leafs because he didn't like dealing with the media. Erik Gustafsson was just a defensive ad for the blue line, and it was just depth going into the playoffs. Justin Hall has a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to Toronto Maple Leafs fans. At certain times he was amazing, and other times he was borderline unplayable. He went and signed with the Detroit Red Wings. Losing Erik Källgren hurts a little bit, as having good organizational goaltending depth is a really good thing to have going into the playoffs. Everyone thought that Luke Schenn would be staying with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he chose to go to the Predators because they offered him a much better lucrative contract. Noel Acciari was acquired at the trade deadline and became an instant fan favorite. He provided a little bit of offensive depth and also provided that hard physical style of play that's needed for the playoffs. Alex Kerfoot had a very mixed relationship with Toronto Maple Leafs fans. He was acquired in the Tyson Barrie trade that sent Nazem Kadri to the Colorado Avalanche. He would always play up and down the lineup but could never really stick anywhere. He was one of those jack-of-all-trades and master-of-none type of players. Losing his little bit of depth hurts, but I think they did a good job of replacing him. Jordy Ben was defensive depth, not much missing there. Wayne Simmons is kind of too old to be playing in the league at this point. All the rough miles that he's put on his body are finally catching up to him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. Redeems the Hornets, just depth that they're missing. Michael Bunting was a fan favorite in Toronto. He came in on a cheap contract and overperformed every expectation that people had for him. Scores points, scores goals, and also provides a big physical presence when he's playing. In the last playoffs, he did get suspended because of something very stupid that he did. But now he also got a big payday from the Carolina Hurricanes, where he'll be playing for a couple years. Zach Aston Reese just provided defensive presence and also was just more depth. Victor Mete was just more defensive depth for the team. Now let's get to all the big ads that the Maple Leafs had this offseason. The Maple Leafs' first signing of free agency was Ryan Reaves to a new contract. He is getting very old, but he provides a good physical presence and will keep the Stars safe in Toronto, something that they've been lacking for a couple years. David Kampf is an elite defensive centerman, and he's been brought back for more years. Pontus Holmberg's probably going to be their fourth-line center or a fourth-line player for the team. He was extended and provides more depth for the team. John Klingberg's trying to get back to where he once was with the Dallas Stars. Hopefully with the Maple Leafs, he's able to find that player that he once was and is able to thrive in the environment. Arguably, the Maple Leafs' biggest ad this offseason is Tyler Bertuzzi. Tyler Bertuzzi scores goals, scores points, and is very physical. He's a pest to play against, and he's going to be a giant fan favorite. Max Domi's another one of those type of players. Scores goals, puts up points, and is a pest to play against. Do you remember what I said earlier about Treliving going after guys that are hard to play against, but still skilled? These two signings provide that concept perfectly, and I think that they're going to do a trade and get another one of those type of players. Whether it's on offensive defense, I'm not too sure, but I think they're going to get more pests to play against before the season starts. Dylan Gambrell is just more depth for the team. They had to go to arbitration, but the team did reach a new contract with Ilya Samsonov. In his first year with the Maple Leafs, he was very solid, and I think that the contract that he got in arbitration was very fair. More than likely, they're going to be running a tandem of him and Joseph Woll, as Woll's ready to break into the NHL, and I think that he's going to be a star for them. The Leafs then also reached an extension with Nick Abruzzese. Then the next move kind of confused everyone. The Maple Leafs signed Martin Jones to a one-year, $800,000 contract. At the time of recording, we're unsure of what this means. It could just be defensive depth, but hopefully it's not them trading one of Ilya Samsonov or Joseph Woll. More than likely, I do think it's just organizational goaltending depth, which is always something that teams need. Especially look at Vegas this year. They want their third-string goalie. The most recent move that the Maple Leafs have made at time of recording this is signing Easton Cohen to his entry-level contract. He was their first-round pick this year, and hopefully he's able to grow into his own, because people thought that it was a bit of a stretch taking him in the first round. Overall, I think this is the summer of question marks for Maple Leafs fans. They lost Dubas, got Brad Treliving, and now they're trying to find a new identity to play with. Other question marks for the team would include an extension with William Nylander or a trade in that case. The most pressing question on every Maple Leafs fan mind is why hasn't there been an extension with Auston Matthews yet? They're definitely prioritizing it, but it's just a matter of getting it done. Hopefully they do get it done because Matthews is arguably the best player in Maple Leafs history, and I hope that he can stay there for a long time. And if he doesn't, the Maple Leafs are kind of in for a rude awakening, but only time will tell what's going to happen on that front. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all the moves that Brad Treliving's made as his first offseason as general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. While you're down there, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to keep providing NHL content for all NHL teams, so there's going to be a little bit of something for everyone. Thanks for watching.